This is Jason Tucker, and this is episode number 158 of the Smart Marketing Show. Oh my goodness. ServerPress makers desktop server. They make local WordPress development easy. Check them out at serverpress.com. And Cloudways. Go check them out over at cloudways.com. They do web hosting. And if you want, support us on Patreon. Go over to patreon.com/WPwatercooler. I am Jason Tucker. I'm an IT director and a web developer. And Bridget Willard is our marketing consultant. She's amazing. Go check her out at You Too Can Be a Guru on Twitter. Hey, how's it going? Look, Things aren't 100% every single time, okay?
Gotta keep them guessing. Gotta keep them
guessing. Absolutely. Yeah, well, you can practice all you want, but that doesn't mean it's gonna help you any.
I know the feeling well.
Oh man!
Welcome to the newly rebranded Smart Marketing Show, formerly known as the Redacted Marketing Show, just because we don't want to be sued by the foundation, formerly known as WP Blab. So We're going to talk about rebranding, remarketing, changing your name, changing your colors, changing your logo.
Doing your intros.
Sometimes it's just one thing. Sometimes it's a lot. And, with nonprofits, it's kind of tricky because you're always trying to get their attention. And so Jason was like, we should talk to WP&UP about their rebrand. I go, you mean Big Orange Heart? He's like, yeah, exactly.
It's tricky, isn't it?
I mean, I know some of the backstory, but for those viewing at home or listening on our podcast, why WP&UP to Orange Heart? What's that?
So, I mean, WP&UP has been, it's been fantastic, phenomenal in terms of what we've been able to deliver within the WordPress community. It's been fantastic. We had always intended for WP&UP to be more. We'd always intended to be able to take it out into wider communities and to be able to support greater numbers of people outside of just the WordPress community. Given the current global crisis, we've had just a phenomenal uptake in terms of the demand on WP&UP. We saw more than a 310% increase in demand for the services. Unfortunately, that was coupled with a 90% or more than 90% decrease in public donations. So we were asking serious questions. How do we continue? How do we maintain this? How do we continue to move forward? And with this influx of individuals coming through and people requiring support and so on, we thought, this is the time. This probably isn't the time because there's so much going on, but you know what? This is the time. We're in a situation where millions of people are moving to the remote working model. We've got millions of people in a situation that they've probably never been in before, in working environments that they've, it's new to them. To a lot of people having to work remotely, having to work in a part of a distributed team, and we felt, now is the time. It's about 18 months ahead of our planned schedule, our planned time to go through this rebrand and relaunch, so the pivot. But yes, it felt that given everything that's been going on across the globe, that now was the time to bring it to the community.
That's awesome. So how did you start out with the name WP&UP? Like, where did that come from? Because the next question is obviously going to be like, how did you come up with Big Orange Heart? But the original name, where did that come from, and why did you pick that?
Sure. Well, WP&UP, so the name was actually registered. I registered the name back in 2014, and we didn't actually start providing services until 2018. So it was 4 years prior to us actually launching that I'd gone through that process. And it was really, I was just looking at what is the charity? What is it going to be doing? What is it going to be aiming to achieve? And one of the big things is we wanted a real positive connotation. Wanted the idea of moving forward, moving up, and that's where the up came from. And it was quite a natural connection. The WP and the up, the two P's at the end. there are some horrendous first versions of the logos kicking around, trying to bring in the W and the P. Which at some point we may share for the wider community to see, but it really was more of a focus around that positive connotation, and really trying to everything that we're doing within WP&UP was really heavily focused on mental health and trying to support individuals and trying to help them move forward. And the slogan together we can press forward was something that we'd adopted, and it, again, fitting in with that positive connotation about moving up, moving forward. It's all about that progression. It's all about the not going backwards, not falling down. Really trying to focus on the opposite of that.
Yeah, I like the forward because a lot of times, like for me, I'm a widow. It's been 4 years, and then also I have general anxiety and depression. And you people say to you hear people say, you should move on. And moving on is kind of a way of closing the past, but denying who you are and that life. And for me, it was like, wow, I'm meeting people who didn't know I was married. And I had a real moment in Chicago in 2017. I wrote about it on Medium, but I just had this like, this is so weird to meet people who never knew that I was loved. I mean, that's the way I viewed it. Who never knew I had this life and these stepchildren, the grandchildren, and all of this. And it was a weird thing because, like, yeah, the backstory is kind of laborious sometimes because they go, what? But also you can't move forward if you don't accept who you are. Yeah. Because moving on is impossible. Absolutely. There's no moving on. And that's one of the things that really bugs me about mental health. And there's a really great TED Talk by a widow who's like, she has a podcast called Terrible, Thanks for Asking. Like, how are you doing? I'm doing terrible. Thanks for asking. Like, my husband died. What do you think happened? I'm not doing great, whatever. Like, and so, but people get, so like having a mental health organization that accepts the forward and doesn't push on was huge to me when you and I first talked about it, Dan.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you. It's good to hear. It really was about this. We're experiencing journeys, and there is this this need for us to go through this, and unfortunately sometimes these journeys can be very, very difficult, and if we can create something that helps people through that, then obviously that we are moving forward.
Forward.
Cool.
I love that.
So how did you guys start working through those changes that you wanted to do when you were working out this rebranding? Like, did you have a plan that you wanted to change absolutely everything about just the outside people outside looking in? Did you want to change all of that? Were you wanting to just like keep parts of it together? Could you kind of explore that with us a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So it's, I would say it's been quite a natural progression for us. We didn't initially intend to set out to have quite a big change. We knew that obviously WP instantly, it limited us in terms of what we were able to do, in terms of where we were able to go. So we knew the name needed to change. Through our marketing, and I mean, a massive thank you to Bridget and all the work that you've done within the team. We adopted the as I've mentioned, the Together We Press Forward, and that then often was followed with this orange heart emoji, and it felt like it's something that quite naturally evolved within the community, and the community were adopting this orange heart. We've got a really active peer-to-peer community, individuals supporting one another. It's fantastic to see, and this orange heart just kept popping up in all that we were doing. So it just felt like a very natural thing for us to adopt what the community had adopted as their symbol, if you like, their symbol of this, this need for positivity and need for positive mental health and positive well-being within our community. So we set out to obviously change the name, so we were able to then move into the wider focused community for us, looking at the remote workers, looking at distributed teams, individuals that are working in the kinds of environments that most of us are working in right now, even though we may not necessarily have started out that way 2 months ago. And that journey has really led us to have to look at what we're doing, the messaging, making sure that the big focus around the rebrand of the site was around accessibility, and was making sure that most people were able to access the content and the site within it. And actually, that's been a really interesting journey, because what we've done as we've gone through the site, looking at it from an accessibility first perspective, is we've stripped out a lot of what was actually ultimately became unnecessary stuff. So we looked at typography, we looked at colors, we looked at menus. And if you look at the contrast between, for example, the menu in the current in WP&UP.org compared with the menu in BigOrangeHeart.org, very, very different. You'll see Big Orange Heart is very, very simple. And it's actually this focus around simplicity has really been quite incredible for us, because it's meant that we've ended up with a site that's much, much more accessible. But the other benefit to it is also it's much, much lighter. There's a lot less stuff getting in the way, shall we say. So people can get to the message quickly. We've got a site that loads much, much faster, because we've removed a lot from it. So that focus around typography really was quite a key for us in terms of this rebrand. Less is more has been very much the mantra as we've gone through it.
Yeah, I thought I would bring it up here, and we can take a look real fast at that's just some of the things that you've been talking about here. As you mentioned, the orange heart itself. Orange was a color that you were already using, right? Mm-hmm. So just taking that orange and using it again is great. You're right. Having very clear navigation sounds like a win for you. Looking at the previous site, having that clear navigation is definitely a good one. It's a beautiful site. I mean, things just went really well with it. Who did the design for it?
I did.
You did. Good job. This is great. No, this looks awesome. Do you have a background in doing any of this sort of thing?
So I've been building sites, doing a lot of design development for some time. But no,
good.
This, I mean, if we, for example, if you click on the join page, you'll find that we've really kind of stripped out, tried to make it very focused around the typography, and that's really what we're looking at here. And
it's real clean.
Yes,
you should look at the Get Support page. The Get Support page is cool, because we all think of Get Support in WordPress and we're thinking, plugin support.
So this is we're using chatbots. We're using quite a number of chatbots through this. So there's actually, if you run through the journey on this, you'll find there's various things that you can do within here. So there's access to support from a well-being perspective, but we've also got the opportunity to go through and register as a volunteer or become a donor. So there's quite a lot going on within there. And we actually used a chatbot as a solution to run our mental health survey within the WordPress community beginning of last year. And we received this incredible response in terms of the conversion rate from it. So it really was quite an interesting journey to looking at how the individuals are using the site and how the individuals interact with it.
Remember, that's Jason, I was telling you about Wobot?
Yeah.
This is that's similar.
Very similar, yeah. Oh, very cool. I like this.
Because there's no filling around. Oh, now I have to fill out a form. Well, now I'm embarrassed. I don't necessarily want you to know who I am. Now there's all this other stuff going on, and there's all these blockers to actually getting that help right then, or
Right.
and the thing is, it's really funny because a lot of us have been working at home for a long time. I mean, Jason, you've been working at a church, and now you have to work at home. But like, I've
Yeah.
been working at home since December of 2015, and I had more people calling me, making sure I was okay when the stay-at-home order happened than after my husband died. And I wish that was an exaggeration. And I'm like, y'all, this is my normal life. This isn't an ad hoc desk. This is my office space. And I'm fine. I'm not bored. Y'all are bored. Y'all need to like go write a book or something. I felt like a mom. Like, stop bothering me. Go color, go invent something, go make a game, go for a walk, call your friends, like, stop bugging me, right? Because like all of a sudden everybody was like, let's get on the internet. Maybe the internet is how we should do business. But the thing is, it was so new for them, and we all felt this urgency. So Dan had told the team, like, hey, the board of trustees, we met. And then all of a sudden there was like, we're going to rebrand. And I'm like, hey, I'm 9 hours behind y'all. So Dan, you want to talk about how quickly this came together?
So we initially started this conversation at the very start of the lockdown. So here in the UK, we're what are we, 7 or 8 weeks now. I'll be honest, things are a little bit blurred in terms of timelines. But we started this conversation at the trustee level, saying, look, this is what's going on. This is what we can see. We've got some idea of the what's happening here. We've got the increase. We're seeing an increase in demand for the services, etc. We have this plan. We've always had this plan, but this plan is for in 18 months' time from now. So now, do we look at what do we do here? We met, I think, twice to make the decision, and I think I'm right in saying we were exactly 4 weeks from the day saying we're going to rebrand to actually launching the site, and that included the full design, full development, logo design, the whole lot, and
social network changes, new bio. I mean,
there's quite a long laundry list when it comes to rebranding, and by no means have we got a completed job. There's still a lot for us to do, but we've got a big chunk. I mean, we've got the brand out there. We are functioning as Big Orange Heart now, but there are still some. You're still going to find WP&UP mentioned in places. You're still going to find some of the WP&UP sites out there in the wild. That we're very realistic of the situation. It's been basically a 4-week turnaround from yes, we're going to do it to actually delivering it. So in that 4-week period, we've absolutely, as a team, had to take the mindset of it's good enough. And I think in this time, in this current situation, what's been going on, that mentality has actually been a really good way for us to move forward. It kind of comes back to the 80-20 rule, which we tried to imply or try to instill a lot in what we do. But this situation has definitely forced that upon us.
So what about the technology? I mean, did you just change the site, or did you make a new domain?
Looks like you did a bunch.
I know the answer, but like somebody has to ask the
question. We chose, so our heart is very much in the WordPress community. I mean, that's not going to change. Everything that we do, when we can get back to a WordCamp, we are going to be right there in the center of WordCamps. We're going to be at meetups. We still run our WordPress focused meetups. We're not going away from WordPress in all that we're doing here. We are still very much in it. And WordPress was always going to be, it was the very obvious option for us for our site. But we wanted to also look at other technologies as well. We want to make sure we're using the right tool for the solution. And of course, WordPress isn't always the right tool. There are times when there are alternative solutions that need to be looked at. the very first thing that we looked at when we went through this process was our donations and how do we accept donations, because that's critical for us. We need to ensure that we can, as a non-profit, we can continue to fund ourselves, continue to fund the services that are being delivered. So the very first thing was looking at how do we deliver a site that is going to be quick, because we knew that going through a rebrand process, one of the key factors from an SEO perspective is making sure your site is as quick as possible. We wanted to make sure that Google could crawl, and that it wasn't so much just the SEO. Of course, for a user's experience, you want the site to be as quick as possible. So we looked at static solutions and static sites for our fundraising, which we came up with a fantastic solution for. We're using a service called Pay Here at the moment within our static site. If you visit fund.bigorangeheart.org, you'll see a static site. It's actually a Gatsby site, and it's very, very quick. It's fractions of a second page load, and we've been very, very happy with the solution that we came up with there. That obviously led on to conversations around static sites. So we wanted to look at WordPress and how do we, very first, the obvious option for us was headless, and how do we go down the headless route? And we started looking at Gatsby. We started looking at the GraphQL and all of the various ways of going headless, which was fantastic. But it meant that our timeline was going to be delayed, and we were on such a short timeline that we needed to look at alternative options here. So we looked to a tool that we were very aware of within the WordPress space. We had Miriam Schwab had given a talk at WordCamp London, I think it was 2017, on her product called Stratic, and
yes,
it's a phenomenal solution. I mean, if you've not come across it, I highly recommend taking it. Stratic.com. It will take a WordPress site and basically do the heavy lifting when it comes to converting it into a static site for you. So the WordPress site is actually only ever spun up when you are physically working on the site. When you're not working on the site, the WordPress site is actually not available, and you just gain access to the static site. So there's huge amounts of benefits for us. In this instance, it was the perfect tool because we knew the site that we were producing was basically a brochureware. There wasn't a huge amount of interactivity needed in the site. It was some forms, and that was basically it, and obviously the embedding of the chatbots. So Stratic was just the ideal solution for us. So that was the route that we took. But of course, it meant we were then introducing a slightly different workflow for us as a team, and there's definitely things that we're still working through and still trying to understand as a team.
So with nonprofits, recurring donations is a big deal, right?
Absolutely.
What solution were you using before, and how did you transfer those users to, what's it called? Pay now?
Pay here. Yes, yeah.
Amazon now. I want you to come in my house, put it in my hand. Pay here.
Yeah. So basically, Pay Here is a bit of a front end wrapper for Stripe. So I mean, I don't want to belittle the service. It's a fantastic service, Pay Here. We've been very impressed with what they've produced and the way they've produced it. So it's meant that the back end management of this is effectively Stripe. So we were previously using Stripe for our previous donation solutions. So in that respect, it was an ideal solution for us in this instance. We still have we also use GiveWP as our donation solution. Now that is still sitting there. That is still sitting on a WordPress site. That's sitting on a subdomain. That's still sitting in the WP&UP brand. So there's still some work for us to do in the migration of that. But ultimately, our donor base is within our Stripe instance. So we look to use solutions that enable us to interact with that.
So should recurring donors like Bridget subscribe to donations?
No.
Okay, because I was like, wait, I haven't seen my donation come out. What happened? Did I do something wrong?
The church I work at, we just switched donation systems, and it is by far the hardest thing to do if you're basing everything off of recurring donations. It's super easy when you just tell somebody, hey, go click on the link on the website, it says give, and it takes you to the page. They don't care which page it is because it just takes them to a page. But the recurring donations and getting those migrated over is near impossible, and the best way to do it is to just tell them, you got to switch. Here's how you should switch, and get them switched over. The other part of it is dealing with the expiration date on the cards, and making sure if you can go through a service that can do expiration date less donations, that works really well as well, because as the expiration date changes, the card will still work, so the person doesn't have to go and re-up it.
That's right, absolutely. It's definitely the most complex part of this. I mean, there's been some fairly complex pieces that we've kind of pulled together, but this, which is why we made the decision not to touch that, because on a 4-week timeline, it's just, we're just asking for trouble. We're asking for problems to fit that in as well. So that is a piece of work still to be done. But this route of having a solution, so that fund.bigorangeheart.org site is our interim solution, and it's been a fantastic solution for us, because it's we've got a static site there that's awesome. Running Swift, and it's nice and simple for the user.
I mean, because I used to be in accounting, right? So when I first started in construction, we were using a really old accounting system, and then we were switching over to American Contractor, which is based on Fox Pro. And so my whole job was to take everything they did in Mass 90 and then input it, everything.
Oh boy, you just said all the bad words. 2000. Yeah, you need to mention PeopleSoft as well, and then that's where my mind melts.
I mean, we did the same when we had our solution based in whatever the other one is for Macs. The other company, but so you have to have these two systems, and we did it for 6 months, because when you're talking about money, it's all great that you're helping people. That's the helping side. That's still going forward. Everybody's pressing forward with that. But from the technology accounting side, it was really smart that you kept WP&UP.org and then created something else, migrated the content. But this is still running. Nothing broke.
That's right. Yes.
Okay. So you didn't break in 301 direct. This is still existing. Your Mass 90s over here in American Contract.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
We needed so fast, right?
That's right. Absolutely. We needed to make sure. So one of the big problems that you run up against here by doing this is the fact that you're essentially creating duplicate content, because we're taking an existing site, we're chucking a new brand on it, and you're pushing it out. Any search engine is going to say, nope, don't like that, not going to have that. So you're just going to rank low. So that was a big piece of work that needed to be considered, needed to be thought through in this. So we've put the canonical links on every single page. So on the WP&UP site, when the search bots hit those pages, they're being informed that actually that's not the original piece of content. The original piece of content sits over on bigorangeheart.org/ whatever that page happens to be. And that was something that we really had to, in a normal situation here, you would just put the 301 redirects, but we wanted to make sure that we're having this transitional period. So in time, yes, we'll apply those 301 redirects, and obviously that you start to see some of the good SEO juice hitting the site because you've done that. But we weren't in a position to be able to do that immediately, so we needed to think how do we go about this transition. And I think, to be honest, we've been quite fortunate in such a short time frame to have picked up. And I mean, I can only put that out to the team. I mean, the team has been absolutely fantastic through this process. There's been so many people giving their time in different ways to enable us to do this. So I just want to say a huge personal thank you to each and every single one of them.
It's a lot more than a logo and a name, Dan.
Yes.
It sure is. But not only is it not more than a logo and a name, but we're also going to make you do your own ad, which is going to be awesome, because I've never had the person come on the show and do the ad for us. So Dan, take us away. Tell us about Big Orange Heart.
Excellent, thank you. So Big Orange Heart is a registered charity. Our mission is to support and promote positive well-being and mental health within the remote working communities. We're a peer-to-peer support community. We have access to mental health professionals. If you are out there right now working in an isolated situation, so if you are a distributed team member, if you're a remote worker, we are here as a community for you. If you visit bigorangeheart.org/join, you can come in, become part of the community. It is a phenomenal community going on in there. There's been so much support, particularly through this current situation. And so I just encourage each and every one of you out there listening, if you haven't already, head over to bigorangeheart.org/join.
That's a really good live
Awesome.
read. I think I just
thank
got
you.
replaced.
I think I'm just going to record that and hit play
Right?
the next time you do it.
I know.
Good job, Dan.
And everything. I'm like, it's really great because you could go to the How Are You channel and just put in a number, and then people respond or they don't, and there's a bear hug.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. The How Are You has been really quite a phenomenal channel. It really has. It's the idea behind it is, as you said, we're encouraging individuals to share a number between 1 and 10, and 10 being the best. I'm on top of the world, everything's absolutely wonderful, down to 1, I'm really at my lowest, really struggling. And we appreciate people aren't numbers. We're all emotional, we're all soft squishy bits, we've all got these emotions, but that ability for people to be able to share their emotion without necessarily expanding upon it really is very, very powerful. So some people will just drop a 3 in and leave it at that. And for them, the ability to be able to share that emotion in that moment is really a very powerful thing without having to elaborate. And of course, some people choose to elaborate and go further. So it's entirely up to the individual.
So you talked a lot about how sorry, go for it, Jason.
No, go for it.
Well, I was just going to say, like,
this only happens every once in a while.
Go, Jason.
No, Bridget, yours sounds way more interesting than mine. Go for it.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm kind of asking questions I a little bit know the answers to. But so you're wearing a Matt Report hat. And I know that you were talking a lot about how the community took the orange heart emoji. Like, I know you were using it in the bio, and then like I would just like put orange hearts like when people responded. And you and I are primarily the people on Twitter. I think people could probably tell who's doing which. But that either way, the orange heart is happening. And then it's true. Everybody was like orange heart, orange heart, orange heart. So, but one of the things about a nonprofit that's important, as you mentioned, is fundraising. When we can't not talk about money. It's just everything has a cost. There's overhead. There's all this stuff. So I was wondering if you could kind of tell us how WP&UP / a Big Orange Heart has allowed community to facilitate their own fundraising efforts.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. It's been fantastic, actually. It sounds like common sense when you say it out loud, but give people the right tool and they can go and do fantastic things. And the peer-to-peer support, as in fundraising support, is a big step for us. It's something that we're really trying to work towards at the moment. So, for example, right now we're running a campaign throughout May. May your heart be orange. # May your heart be orange. And the idea here is we've got a tool called Donately that enables this. Enables individuals, a bit like the kind of GoFundMe style pages. You can spin up your own sub page of our campaign. And we've got, I think there's 10 or 11 Facebook groups in there at the moment that have all got their own individual page, all branded up as their own Facebook group, and it's their link. And we set a challenge: who can raise $1,000 in each Facebook group? And it's the ability for us, giving the right tools to people. And as soon as we offer those tools, people take them, people pick them up, and they start using them, and it is fantastic. And trying to find the best way to get that message out there is, as I say, just being able to give people the right tool.
That's cool.
Did you want to talk about what Matt Report did?
Yes, I think Matt.
What did Matt do?
wearing that.
Matt? No.
Absolutely, yes, the hat, and has done more. So Matt is actually, we've got Matt is running his store on the Matt Report store. If you head over the items that he was, so the caps and the various other items, all the way through 2019, all purchases, so all profit that was made through the Matt Report store was being donated into WP&UP. Now he's actually just launched some more products, and he's doing the same there again. So I've just got so much respect and love for the Matt Report. It's really interesting because way back in my early days of WordPress, the Matt Report was really influential for me from a business perspective. It was the kind of the very business focused, and it's still very business focused podcast. So when Matt, when I was lucky enough to come on and join Matt on the podcast, it was a bit of a special moment for me because I very much looked up to what he was producing, the content that was coming out, and then for him to then feature it's been fantastic, and he's actually just invited me again, so I'm back on with him next week. Looking forward to that. So,
awesome.
Just
cool.
We've been blown away by the way the community has looked for their own unique ways to try and support what was WP&UP, what is now Big Orange Heart. We've just had some news this morning that there's a one of our supporters, one of the companies that sponsors us, Yoast. They're doing some work right now that is different, is unique. He's going to be fundraising for us outside of the the kind of the norm, if you like. So looking forward to being able to share more information on that one.
That's cool. I noticed that at WordCamp Miami, one of the camps that actually happened this year, the team at Give did a selfie drive. If you took a selfie with a team member of Give, for every selfie, there was a certain amount of donations that went to WP&UP and Black Girls Who Code.
Yep.
So, I mean, all of these things just have been so fun.
It is, and that's the thing. If we can incorporate some fun with it as well, I mean, what the Give team did at Miami was fantastic because it was so nice seeing all the photos and seeing the big happy smiley faces. And I think that might have been one of the last WordCamps, wasn't it?
That Phoenix.
Yeah. So fantastic to see all those memories.
I have a question for you about branding and this change in branding. What's the weirdest thing that you found so far when going through, it's like you're going to go and use one of your old assets that you're going to go and upload to a website or you're going to put onto social media or whatever, and then you realize that the logo is the old logo. Like, how many times has that happened to you? Or you go to share something on social media and like the OG image for that image or for that content has the old content on it. Like, we're going through a rebranding over here on WPwatercooler, but also at the church I used to work at, we didn't do a rebranding, but we just changed the logo. And all we did is it's a simple logo. It's a black circle. It has the word in it. It has a little word below it and another little word below that. And we changed like which one of those two words at the bottom was bold. So the top one was bold and the bottom one wasn't. And we switched it from the top one not being bold and the bottom one not being. And I'm just like, every time we would share it, I would get an email from one of our art directors or whoever saying, you used the wrong image. And I'm like, okay. How are you managing that? And did you guys come up with some kind of like brand folder that you're throwing this stuff into or something like that, just to make sure you're not, using the old content?
It's really hard. I'm going to be honest. Really hard. We've proactively through all of this, as WP&UP, we've tried to get the logo on everything. So every image, every OG image, every image that we share socially, every featured image, you'll find the WP&UP logo on. So of course now we're in exactly this situation. And again, that is a piece of work that is still to be done in terms of historical posts, historical featured images, and so on that are to be shared. We're very fortunate. I mean, there's a couple of, if you don't mind, there's a couple of companies that I would mind just giving a quick shout out to because they've been, in terms of volunteering and supporting us. Happy Kite, a UK agency here in the UK, Phil from their team actually designed the Big Orange Heart logo for us, and it was just this. this incredible experience as we went through it. And you know, it was really quite a very natural process as we were going through that design with him. And also we have a company that we use for a lot of our design assets called Dear Designer. Again, they've been absolutely fantastic in terms of supporting us. And we do have asset folders. So we use a Google Drive across the team of volunteers, and we do try to ensure that people have the right access to the right folders. But of course, we've got all the historical stuff that we've still as yet to work through. But we're in an even stranger situation in that as a registered charity, we're still legally WP&UP.
Right.
But as almost as a trading as name, we're Big Orange Heart. So there's still we still have to watch some of the language that we're using when we're communicating.
Okay, so
yeah,
DBAing over here. Okay,
that's tough.
Did you make a brand guideline, like a Google Doc with like all the hex colors and that awesome muted purple?
No.
Okay, well, I mean, I have to do that for myself because, listen, my own website has gone through rebranding. I don't even know how many times, okay? But Rhonda Nygaard has done it twice. And so she'll just send me the colors.io thing and go screenshot this. And I'm like, nobody can remember that. I need to, like, I'm telling her, she doesn't realize that I'm more educated because she's not used to educating people. I mean, I ran the WordPress. I'm digging a hole. Okay. Anyway, so
yeah,
I have
continue digging. Here's some more shovels.
I'm like, here's the 5 colors and here's the hex codes because I need them to go in Canva.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
and this is, again, I mean, we've been very fortunate in that we've introduced that muted purple, but that is the only new color. So we've actually maintained. So previously we'd gone from the orange, the dark gray, and the white. So we've maintained those 3 colors, and really the dark gray and the white. So it's so simple. So really, we've only really introduced one new color, which is the muted purple.
Same orange.
Same orange. Yes. Yeah.
Do you think that your static site with the swag that you guys had, will you do something like a Printful? I mean, are you going to make more swag with Printful or something like that?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. So we've got on shop.bigorangeheart.org. We've got a number of bits of swag on there already. So we've got some caps, we've got some t-shirts and bits on there. But it's also stocked full of WP&UP stuff as well. So again, this is stuff that we need to work through. But actually, we're kind of going through this process and thinking, let's keep some of the WP&UP because it's it's our history. It's never going to go away. We're not ashamed of WP&UP in any way, shape, or form. Okay. We love what WP&UP is and what it's been and what it's done. So we've intentionally kept some of the stickers on there and some of the bits and pieces to recognize that this is we have this history and we're proud of it.
That's awesome. Oh, look, there's a girl shirt. I need to get that.
And the Wapoo is another one. The press forward WP&UP was the name of that one.
Oh, and the baby. That's rad. I love how you have both. I mean, honestly, I probably should know that answer, but clearly,
this is the thing.
Be that far ahead, honestly. It's like a tornado, and all of a sudden we're changing it.
Well, in the 4-week period, we've done the main site, we've done the donation site, we've done the shop, and yesterday we launched our new live events platform. So I mean, there's been really quite a staggering amount of work that's been completed in a very, very, very short timeline. So there's, as I said, there's going to be issues. There's going to be glitches. We know that. We know there are going to be, and if people find them, we'd love to hear from you because there's the more eyes on it, then the quicker we're going to be able to get through these updates.
So, like, okay, cool. Advice to people who are thinking about rebranding.
Mm-hmm.
You got like 3 to 5 bullet points for us, Dan?
Don't do it in a 4-week timeline. Probably put a brand guide together. Basically everything we've not done. No, on a serious note, there are some key issues. I mean, as with any website, SEO is a key issue. You do need to give time. You do need to be planning out what that looks like. How do you do it? And I'm not saying we've done it perfectly, but we are, Big Orange Heart is ranking in Google, and that it's a brand new domain. It's had no history, so I think that's done pretty well in terms of in terms of the timeline. So working through that, what's the best route for you to take? Looking at what your need is of the business. Why? One big question is why. Why are you rebranding? What's the purpose here? Is it necessary? It can be really quite easy to go down that trap of shiny things. And I know this isn't the first time I've gone through a rebrand. I rebranded my business about 3 years ago. And at the time, I was asking that question: am I just doing this because I'm bored of the current brand? No, I'm doing it for a reason, and it can be a big time suck and a big time trap. So if you're going to go through it, make sure you're doing it for the right reason.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Definitely
well,
good advice.
I want to transition into our next topic here is being able to talk about our tool tip of the week. And I want to share with you both our supporter as well as your supporter, which is Cloudways. Cloudways is optimized for speed and delivering outstanding performance and security. Cloudways is hosted on one of 5 cloud providers, including AWS, Google Cloud, Linode, DigitalOcean, and more. They provide free SSL certificates, CloudwaysCDN, automated and on-demand app server, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. App server backups and custom-built teams featured with onboard distribution of those team members. Go check them out over at cloudways.com for a 3-day trial. That's cloudways.com.
Can I just mention?
Alrighty.
Can I just?
Of course you can. And are you guys?
They are. So
yeah,
as I mentioned, we're using Stratic on the main site, but we're using Cloudways for all our other sites. So we've got a Linode, a Google Cloud server with them. So just want to yesterday, as part of this entire rebrand process, we launched our live events platform, which is running on a Google Cloud server within Cloudways. 2 hours before we're due to go for our first live event through this platform, we accidentally deleted the site.
Oh no!
Gone. Fortunately, Cloudways backed up server, straight back up, got it there.
Yeah.
And instantly, as we're going into the event, we're scaling up and down in terms of the server, in terms of the demand for the server. So, big thumbs up for Cloudways and what we were able to accomplish yesterday.
Wow.
So, yes,
yeah, being able to recover from something like that. I mean, we've all deleted websites before, but being able to recover from something like that and quickly and easily and be able to scale at the same time, that's I don't know, that's pretty good.
That sounds almost miraculous.
Sorry, I just wanted to just mention that
one.
one.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. So, tour tip of the week, Bridget, you want to start us off with your tour tip of the week?
Yes, I'm using ShadowNet. It's a new thing I found from one of my security people that I know, and it's an app for your phone. In the last, and just today, it's blocked 1,734 requests of 1,794 on my phone, just my phone, not my computer, just my phone. And it tells you all the different web domains that did. You could go into advanced settings, and coming soon is shadow IP filtering. Country blocking is right now I'm blocking 11 countries. Domain extension blocking, that's 173 currently. It has a VPN scanner. It has a blacklist, which is enabled, and it's pretty. It's free, so I would get it while it's free. I'd be super interested in anybody else who uses it and sees what they think, because I'm like, if you're smart enough to be in security, then I just trust you. Maybe that's naive, but I know people like Yvonne Conway Williams and Mark Marauder and stuff. they probably have different ideas. Dre Almeida from Sakuri. But I would super love to hear what they think about it. I'm like, wow, this is cool. I'm getting protected on my iPhone. Sounds like a plan to me. And it's a low price.
So does that show up as like a content?
I'm sorry.
Does that show up as like a content blocker in Safari? Like, is it where it's blocking most of that stuff? It's through, through Safari?
Okay, so pay attention, people. When I first did this, one of my friends sent me a link to something that was .co, and it wouldn't open. I was like, mother, whatever. And then it was pissing me off. I'm like, what's going on with my internet? I just paid for this Gigablast for $140 a month or whatever. And then I went to my, cell service, and it didn't work either. And then I was like, oh, wait, I just installed this thing. Maybe it's blocking the CO. Oh, guess what? It is. So then I just said, allow that domain extension. And guess what? It worked like magic. So, like, be aware. It's like
you could be an IT person. You could totally be an IT person figuring out how to, what was it I changed last, and then be able to kind of work through that.
Just science. That's a scientific method, right? Change one thing, and then
Sure
it happens. And that's what IT people do. And I should have been an engineer. I'm just a marketer instead. Nerd.
Definitely.
How about you, Dan? What do you got for us?
So I've been I've really interested little tool recently, Espanzo, espanzo.org. It's a cross-platform text expander. It's written in Rust, so it's incredibly fast. So I use it for all sorts. So for example, we use our strapline, Together We Press Forward, with the orange heart. I just literally type :H, and it's expanded. And the time saved on these things that I'm writing repeatedly day in, day out, it really is quite an interesting little tool. And because it's it's open source, you can go in, you can chuck it, you can update, you can change, adjust as you need to. So it's a fun little platform a fun little tool that is saving me a huge amount of time.
Does it work on your phone? Like it's on my way.
I can't remember actually off the top of my head. I'm not sure it does on the phone at the moment.
Huh.
But there are certainly other.
Yeah, it looks like it's just Windows, Mac, and Linux.
Oh yes, yeah, you can see there. Yep. Yeah, there certainly are text expanders that will work on phones as well. But this one, I thought, just because it's written in Rust, you can get in, you can adjust and make it work and fit to your needs.
I think these code names are really interesting. Like, who is talking to a branding person?
Like, why is Rust fast?
Before they name a code base after something that is a result of corrosion.
I was waiting for that to happen. The second you said that, Dad, I was like, Bridget's brain is going to talk about this and this only.
Iron oxide. This is what happens when water touches steel or iron. We're going to call it after something that's terrible and horrible and destructive in the world. And that's what we're going to call our code base. Right. Okay, you all,
Awesome.
you can get my free consulting hour. Hit me up. They need to brand.
Oh, man. Yeah, Dan, I've been using a competitor of theirs, which is called Text Expander, and I use that on the on the Mac as well as Windows, and good stuff. I love the fact that you can go and take content like that and be able to reuse it and be able to just type in, like you said, of something very small and be able to quickly pull that up and use it.
Yeah, I think Text Expander I've used. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. For some reason my computer's delayed. I'm not sure what's going on over there. Yeah.
For Jason. Okay, so Jason, tell us.
I don't know. Who knows? I'm not sure what's going on there. Yeah, I'll tell you about mine. This has happened a couple times with the show at the very tail end of it. I think my daughter figures out how to stream 4K video or something in one of the other rooms, and then we ended up with just like this huge delay. I think she just woke up. So yeah, so the product I'm going to tell you about is an app that I've been playing around with. I actually used recently on a project for actually WPwatercooler Network, which was a video that I wanted to put onto our Patreon page. And so what I used this tool called Teleprompter for Video. There's a whole bunch of these. This one is the one that has the I guess it's not as annoying as the other ones. There's a lot of these where they've come up with these like ways of upselling you and trying to do a bunch of like just really ridiculous stuff. And I wanted to find something that just gives me like type in a script or paste in a script, or this one will even use Dropbox and pull in the script. The script shows up on the screen, and not only does it show up on the screen, you can see right here, it shows up on the left-hand side of the screen where the camera is. So when you're looking at the screen, you're looking at where the text is, and you're going to read it. For me, obviously, as you can tell, I'm not very great at reading scripts as I'm doing this stuff live. But if you give me some bullet points, I'm more than capable of being able to knock these out in bullet points. So what I typically do when I was, like when I was doing this particular video, is I just put in the bullet points of the things I wanted to hit. Here's all the different pieces I wanted to actually make sure I'm talking about, and then let the rest of my mind just kind of flow and say this. But if you're the type of person that can read a script, this tool will help you out quite a bit. As you can see within this app, it also allows you to change the colors of the script, which is super interesting because it allows you to either emphasize on different things that you need to say, or it just like, you can do underlines and all those things as well. So I really like this one. It worked out well for me. Again, if you want to record portrait or landscape or any of those sorts of things, it definitely does that too. The one thing I will tell you is that when you go and record, it will let you record as a 4K video, where a lot of these won't let you record as 4K videos. And if you have a camera that's capable of 4K video recording, you want to have the highest resolution that you can, so that way later you could put in whatever extra little bits and bobs you want to put in there. But in order to do that, you need to record in 4K. So yeah, that's the tool that I've been playing around with, and it's free to download and play with. And then after that, you have to do an in-app purchase, and in-app purchase isn't that bad. I want to say it's like $11 or something. But for something that you may end up using quite a bit of, $11 isn't that bad.
Right. We need that for the next Big Orange Heart community video recording.
Yes. That's right.
Dan?
Absolutely. We need to get the scripts out there. Yeah. There's nothing worse than trying to read on your screen, then look at the camera.
It's hard, man. It's hard.
Right, exactly. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Hey, let's.
Sorry, Jason.
Stop talking.
Thanks everybody for watching the Smart Marketing Show on the WP Watercooler Network. If you like this, click thumbs up. If you don't, do it twice. Don't forget to cling. Oh my God! Don't forget to click. Stop laughing at me. Don't forget to click the bell to get notifications on WP Watercooler's YouTube channel, youtube.com/WPWatercooler. Go over to bigorangeheart.org/join and go get some support or support some other people, and let us know in the comments how you're doing today. Thanks, Dan, for being on the show. Thanks, Jason, for doing all the hard work. Thanks for our sponsors, ServerPress, Cloudways, and Big Orange Heart, for doing all the things you do that make minor miracles of everything that we do. And we hope that you have a really great day. Heart hands.
Thank you so much. So grateful.
This is why I don't do this.
You have a good one.